Yo, what's good? Welcome back. As you can see by the title, you can see that you got people talking about, venting about inflation, how everybody going broke. Let's just see what's going on.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but outside costs a minimum of $300. Stay home, okay? Stay home.
Hey fam, doing a little something different on the channel today. I wanted to talk about inflation when it comes to TikTok's reaction. I know I can make a lot of videos about this and I can talk about this, but it really is something very different to see so many other people's reactions to not only inflation, but just the price of living right now.
Right.
I want to know what you guys think about some of the videos you're about to watch. I'll kind of break in and give a little commentary back and forth, but I wanted to know really what you think, and I want to get that conversation going. That first video that started out, I honestly have to agree with her. I feel like every time I leave the house, for me, it's not like a minimum of 3. It's more like a minimum of 100. I just said that to my husband. I'm like, every time I leave this house, it's like $100 is gone. I feel like $100 is $1 now. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. How are you surviving? And let us know any kind of frugal living tips or ways to kind of combat.
That's how you know this. Like, we at the end, man. We literally
get through this rough patch and rough time. I don't know. I don't know how things are going to change or when things are going to change, but I wanted to know what you guys think in the comments.
It's never going to change.
Inflation will remain sticky for a decade, and Gen Z and millennials are to blame, says Fortune magazine. It's our fault again. But wait, why is it our fault? Well, according to Fortune, it's because we're spending all our money on necessities. In other words, Gen Z and millennials are so broke that we're spending all our money on food and housing instead of like luxury items. The main takeaway here is that inflation isn't going away anytime soon. But not to worry, the 1% have some advice for us peasants. Just don't eat! To save money, maybe you should skip breakfast. Intermittent fasting, am I right? Come on, kids. Instead of spending your money on necessities like food, you should buy some junk to help me and my executive friends buy a new yacht. Instead of let them eat cake, it's don't let them eat eggs. Maybe we should just change the name of America to AmeriCorp, since we're just 5 companies in a trench coat pretending to be a country.
I want to know, do you think it is really different for today's generation? I know I'm a Gen Xer, and we're about to see a video by a Gen Xer that went viral on TikTok. She's a little older than me, but she is a Gen Xer like me, and I definitely relate a lot to the millennials.
They really
as well.
be going by the gens,
but I just feel like even in the last 5 to 10 years,
that is true,
I really do feel like things have changed. I thought when I was younger, a younger Gen X, I thought, oh, this is really hard. I don't know how I'm going to get
Everybody
ahead.
Got their own gen.
And now I see the future for Gen X,
Makes sense.
and I mean Gen Z, rather. And I also see, how things might be going
what
for,
gen would I be
Gen
there?
Alpha. And I'm wondering, where will
somebody
we be
let me know
in the future for our kids? Her kids, in the clip you're about to see, her kids are actually already grown. I want you to hear this, and I want you to hear this, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me, why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled. But there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled, and it was tough. But you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right?
Sure.
When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour.
Wow.
And I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making 6-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live.
Okay.
So what the fuck is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are 1-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy, and then everybody else is just poor.
They need to
Like, that's what it's happening.
change the
And then
money
I told him, hey,
system
when you
around.
turn
It's
25, at
not
least your car insurance will go
sustainable
down.
anymore.
Hell no, he turned 25, and his car insurance went up $150. I tell him,
Whoa.
you know, if you need health insurance, get a good job. He did, has health insurance. He has had a medical emergency this week. Had to go to emergency room twice. He had to go to the emergency room because he couldn't get anybody to see him with the health insurance that he had. Right? So he had to go to an emergency room. Now he's out money for that too. It seems like you can never get ahead. And then my daughter, I told her all you have to do, because she wanted to buy her own house. My daughter worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to save up enough for this down payment. Finally got this house. She's paying double what I'm paying for my mortgage, but her loan was the same amount. And then her mortgage company, after she's already moved in, said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that you need this type of coverage, which we forgot in the beginning. That's an extra $200 you've been paying a month. And all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age on lavish vacations with all this money and nothing to do, all these social media influencers, because we value those types of things over hard workers. We will pay them $10,000, but you work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
Guys, I don't know how the average American is making it right now, because
if you're not doing anything like on the internet, man, you're done
for example, if you want to rent an apartment,
you literally gotta work job
3 times
and do something online to make
out
the
here
money
in
right
northern
now.
New Jersey, that means a 1-bedroom, you gotta be making
fucked.
30 to 50% more than the national average. The groceries have gone up like crazy. It's like, it seems like it keeps creeping up ever so slightly, but after 3-4 months, you feel like it's a you feel the increase. Because last year, I would be shopping for myself alone twice a week, and it would run me about $80 each trip. Now it's costing me like $125 to $140 per trip. And when I include going out maybe once or twice a week to eat, my total for food is coming out to be crazy. It's over $1,000. And I know it wasn't like that growing up. It's gotten out of hand.
Hell no.
But people are walking around like nothing's wrong.
Cut it out, man.
Everything is fine.
Cut it
Everything's
out.
dandy. But it won't be long before people are going to have to decide whether to pay the rent, pay the mortgage, or feed their families. And of course, people are going to choose to feed their families. And so, who knows what's going to happen. But I was at the mall the other day, and it was pretty packed. But there wasn't really that many people holding bags. It was just people hanging around window shopping, which doesn't mean squat. It just means people want to get out of the houses and hang around, maybe eat at the food court. And that the food court was popping, of course. But we're going to have to wait and see. I foresee a lot more shoplifting, a lot of stores going out of business because of that. And there's going to be a lot of break-ins, a lot of cars being stolen, a lot of parts being stolen, wheels, catalytic converters.
It's been them days,
which is already happening, but it's going to more and more people are going to want to do it because they have no other way. More and more people are going to turn to scamming and stealing and all that stuff because things have gotten so expensive. So we'll see. What's the solution? The only solution is for the banks and the Federal Reserve to forgive all debt. That's the only way. There's no other solution. Even if we took 20 nations to war and gave them money to buy from us, it still wouldn't help the situation.
So in order to bring inflation down, we've got to raise interest rates.
Yeah. So then, like, housing is going to be even less affordable than before?
Yeah. And, like, people are going to lose their jobs.
We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve maximum employment and financial stability goals. Maximum employment? We can't all have jobs? No, that's not how the system works. What about asking corporations to just lower their prices? No, don't be ridiculous. Okay, I'm just trying to understand.
Well, Gen Z is pissed at us boomers, and I can't say that I blame them. There was an article that came out the other day that said you would have to have 5 minimum wage jobs to live in Austin, Texas, to afford the rent there. It's ridiculous. So those of you who say, well, back in 1980, I made $15 an hour and I bought a house. Well, guess what? Adjusted for inflation, your $15 an hour that you made in 1980 would now be over $112,000 a year. You know, most young people I meet, they want to work. A lot of people say, oh, the new generation doesn't want to work and they're lazy. No, that's not true. They're smart. They're smarter than us. They just don't want your crappy $15 an hour job.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but outside costs a minimum of $300. Stay your ass home, okay? Stay home.
She's not lying, though. She is not lying. Is this copyright?
I know this is kind of more of a funny clip. She's making kind of fun of it and all of that, but there's a lot of talk right now on TikTok about rent. And I rented for the first, I'd say, 3 decades of my life. I didn't become a homeowner for quite some time, and I feel like I just really got lucky. My first homeowner experience was in the crash of the '08 season, and it was pure luck. Like, I had no idea that was going to happen, but even before that, from like 2004, 2005, 2006, I thought I was never going to own a home. So I felt like I was in the same situation. And I know she's making light of this, but this rent crisis is crazy. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below, and any other solutions you may see to this.
Remember when prices started skyrocketing and we were all like, hey, this is corporate greed, but then we were gaslit by US government officials and economists who said it was all in our heads? It turns out it's not in our heads. Greed inflation is real. Financial experts were not just denying that corporate profits were causing inflation, they were actually blaming consumers, which is like peak gaslighting. Like, toxic boyfriends should study this communication tactic because we all sort of believe the financial experts. Now a lot of financial experts are like, wait, this greed inflation thing is not a fringe theory. So here's the deal. Even though inflation is coming down, it's still really high. And the former vice chair of the Fed was like, hey, it's not people getting higher wages that's driving inflation. Instead, she says what's making everything expensive is something called price-to-price spiral, which is basically price gouging. Companies just mark up the cost of their products and services even though their input cost hasn't increased. This guy is a famous economist, and he was even like, profit margins have led to inflation. And this was getting really egregious in 2022 when retailers and some consumer brand companies were convincing their shoppers that, hey, we have no choice, we just have to raise prices, which is actually not true. And the thing is, a lot of companies started convincing us that this is just how it works. Everything has to go up in price and we have to accept it. Technically, that's not how economics works. There's this saying that economists like to say, especially in colleges, where high prices are cured by high prices, which means that a company can only make something as expensive as a customer is willing to pay. That's why cars don't sell for $1 million. That price is like way too outrageous. But during this time, we're seeing like cars that usually sell for $30,000 being sold for $50,000. And there's enough buyers that believe that price is fair that they're buying it, even though it shouldn't actually cost that much to buy the car. The whole thing is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the people who lose are us, the consumer. Even the almighty Fed chair Jerome Powell, who was very quick to blame consumers, us, for high inflation, has now actually changed his tune. He is now saying that high wages are not likely to be driving inflation, and instead it could be other factors, which is very different than what he said in 2021. So what does this mean for you? Everything is very expensive, and those costs are not necessarily justified. But prices will continue to increase if people just buy. Like, there's this mindset that we think, oh, inflation is high, therefore everything should be more expensive. And that's what causes the price spiral.
That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts.
God, cause nigga, I'm back. Fuck the Matrix, this shit is trash. You said you a demon, well bitch I slay. I'm out of space like an alien brain in a different dimension. This shit a movie. She feel my energy, now she is choosing. If we go to war, my nigga you losing. I'm finna act it, go act it. Fuck Biden, election was rigged. Free Trump, free him out the pen. Make a wish, bitch I am a chin. Wait, take a step back, bitch you not my friend. Fuck the internet, this shit is fake. But I be on it, making a play. She don't want knowledge, she wanna lay.